With us today is Pieter van Ostaeyen, who is both a jihadi and a terrorism expert. Peter, thank you so much for being with us here today. ISIS-K has claimed the attack in Moscow, Russia. How is this organization related to ISIS?
Well, first of all, it's not ISIS-K, it's the Islamic State in Khorasan province. As the Islamic State refers to them, it's Wilaya Khorasan, literally Khorasan province. It's one of the branches of the Islamic State. They're like the Islamic State has multiple provinces for example, in Syria, Iraq, in Khorasan, but also in Eastern Asia, in the Philippines. In Africa, there are 4 sub-branches, so it's part of the wider network of the Islamic State.
What was the reason to conduct an attack in Russia?
Well, for the Islamic State, everything that is Western or that is outside of their jihadosphere is an enemy. So the Russians are an enemy for the Islamic State, just as Israel is, for example, just like all the other countries in the West. It's not the first time, by the way, that the Islamic State attacks in Russia. There have been attacks before in the past.
Because we talked about it previously before as well, it was already known to the Russian authorities that there was a threat for a terrorism attack. They were warned by the United States. How is
Mhm.
it possible that even though they knew there was a serious threat, this horrible attack that took over 130 lives took place?
Well, in my idea, the Russians just neglected the American warnings, and that's part because of the distrust between the two world powers right now, completely to be explained by the war in Ukraine, as the US is highly investing in material to support Ukraine in the war against Russia. It's not the first time, actually, that the US has warned for attacks of the Islamic State's Khorasan province. In mid-January, we saw a horrible attack in Kerman in Iran. And in that case, also, the US knew that there was going to be a serious threat towards Iran. In that case, also, Iran neglected the warnings, and yeah, with horrible consequences, we know.
So we can conclude that without the distrust, this horrible attack could have been prevented, actually.
It might have been prevented, or it might have been less impactful than we have seen at this point.
And to elaborate on Ukraine, there are Russian authorities that claim that Ukraine has to do, or they not just only Ukraine, but even the UK and the US has to do with this attack. One of the reasons is that Putin said in a statement that the terrorists were trying to flee through a route in Ukraine.
Mhm.
How is it possible that even though ISIS has proved, they have videos published where they claim this attack, Putin is still trying to frame it on Ukraine?
Well, it's a logical reaction, obviously. They try to justify the war against Ukraine in every single way, and by stating that the Ukrainian secret services and even the US and the UK have been involved in organizing this attack. It's for him, it's like yeah, a God gift, in a matter of speech. But of course, that's completely untrue. We are 100% sure that the Islamic State was behind this attack and organized it all by itself. There have been multiple conspiracy theories about who would be behind the Islamic State. Some claim that it's a Mossad-led operation, and go on. All these conspiracy theories have been going around since the very inception of the Islamic State a decade ago.
It's interesting because, as you said, that Putin is trying to use this attack in order to gain sort of justification for the war in Ukraine. And it's also seen as maybe a sort of tool to attract more soldiers to combat in Ukraine. Do you think it would work?
One can never know the impact of Russian state propaganda within Russia itself. It's clear that they are trying to use this fake news to justify their war even more. What the exact impact will be on the Russian population is, yeah, not really sure at this point. But it's been a tactic that has been used by the Russians multiple times in the past already.
France recently increased their terrorism level to the highest level. Should we be afraid that we're going back to the security risk level of 2015?
There is a possibility. At one point, the Islamic State a decade ago was really capable of organizing and executing high-scale attacks, as we saw in Paris and in Brussels. And then the Islamic State has been searching for a way to yeah, get back on the map in a way, and by executing this attack, it has proven that it is capable of doing so again. So yes, there might be an increasing security threat within the next few months. Actually, yes.
Thank you so much, Peter, for being here with us today, and thank you for our viewers for watching.
Thank you very much.